It's Wednesday. We're rolling into week 16, and today we got to look at the waiver wire again, looking at the quarterbacks, tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, giving you a lowdown on what to do with these players. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're going deep on the waiver wire every day. We're doing deep dives on the trending players, and we're using these videos to help you set your lineups. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're looking at our first player today, Jerome, and he's stepping into a bigger workload due to Nick Chubb being out. I look at him being a touch merchant, a guy that's going to get 10 plus touches a game, getting that opportunity. There's going to be some games where he runs a lot of routes as well, and we got some matchups here that could be very interesting with the Bengals and the Dolphins coming up. If anything, if you can't use him, you might want to stash him so nobody else will, since he's starting to get more work. Aaron Rodgers, last 3 games, 39 pass attempts, 39 pass attempts, 30 pass attempts. We're airing it out a little bit more. He's not a guy you're going to count on, but if you're looking at the waiver wire at the quarterback position, he's just going to be another dude to look at. Rams at Buffalo. We got some interesting matchups. Probably going to be in the QB2 territory over these next couple weeks. Romeo Doubs here. We splashed last week. 5 targets, 3 balls caught, 40 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We're running a lot of snaps. We're running a lot of routes. We're back, baby, from the injury. That being said, a big-time pickup if he's still there on the waiver wire. Brenton is a huge pickup off the waiver wire this week. He's running a lot of routes at the tight end position. He got 12 targets last week. We got the Raiders coming up, a very advantageous situation there. I wouldn't drop a stud tight end for him if you're playing the matchups, but he's going to be a guy that you may have some lineup decisions with. Kendre Miller is in a big opportunity here if Alvin Kamara is out. If Alvin Kamara is out, Kendre Miller is going to get all the work, all the touches here, and they're going to see what they have in Kendre Miller. He's very explosive. He can house it on any given run. However, we got Green Bay on the road, but week 17, we got the Raiders. Something to pay attention to. He's got a lot of upside. This could be our league winner. This guy could be our league winner. Drake Maye will get you a little bit on the ground. He's also pushing it through the air. Rarely any games under 200 yards passing, which is good in 2024. Has a horrible statement in 2023 and prior. But Drake Maye's getting you a good floor, a good QB2. You got Buffalo on the road. You got the Chargers later in week 17. So another guy you're playing the matchups with. Jalen Coker's back. Xavier Legette's week to week. He's going to be running a lot of routes, and he's going to be on the outside. He got a good ADOT last week of 12 and a 22.2% target share. Look for him to get a lot of work going forward. He's a fun gamble to make for the rest of the season, due to Bryce Young going YOLO every single game and the upside he has on any given route he runs. Smartt here, starting to rack up more targets and opportunities here. We got Denver coming up. You may not want to look his way for that one, but we do have the Patriots on the road in week 17. And if you got a week 18 championship, you got the Raiders on the road. Smartt is a trendy tight end right now that you may want to think about. Tyjae Spears. Here you're watching Tony Pollard's health. How's he doing? Is he coming back? Is he practicing all this stuff? Tyjae Spears can hold it down when given the workload. He's good in the passing game. He's explosive. He's got good vision. So if he's granted more opportunity, we got Indy coming up. We got Jacksonville coming up. Tyjae Spears could be a sneaky bet back end of the season. Cooper Rush here. You're not loving these names at quarterback, but you shouldn't, because I'm pointing out the likely guys, and you already know what to do with them. But we're passing the ball a little bit more. 29 pass attempts, 31, 36, 32, 55. So that's giving us more opportunities. We're rarely under 200 yards. 195, 183 in weeks 13 and 14. We got Tampa Bay coming up. Then we got Philly coming up. Cooper Rush is a guy you may want to play the matchups with. Rashod Bateman is that YOLO wide receiver. He's always getting good average depth of target week in and week out. And he's getting about 4 to 5 targets per game. And he's one of those wide receivers. They either connect on those deep targets, and he's huge for fantasy, or they don't. He gets overshot or whatever happens, and he's a huge bust for fantasy. And it's up and down throughout the season. But those are type of waiver wire wide receivers you may want to look at if you got to score big in the box score. Chig Okonkwo getting targets, 10 last week, 6 in week 13. We're getting volume in the passing game. The ball's moving around a little bit for the Tennessee Titans. We got some upside here at the tight end spot. Kenneth Gainwell is a great handcuff for Saquon Barkley. The offensive line for the Eagles is getting a great push up front. Whenever he's on the field, he's getting targets out of the passing game. He's getting runs up the gut. His opportunity share is increasing a little bit game by game. When Saquon Barkley went out last week for a couple of plays, everybody looked at Kenneth Gainwell. They gasped. If I have Saquon Barkley, I'm making it a priority right now to get Kenneth Gainwell. Russell Wilson gets in shootouts. He might be up and down a little bit. He's recently been down, but prior to that, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, 205 yards against Baltimore. We got Baltimore coming up on the road. Then we got Kansas City, some rough matchups. But you got to do what you got to do. Jalen McMillan has been running a lot of routes. He really shouldn't be on waivers, especially been watching this channel. Runs a lot of routes, gets a lot of opportunities. We said he was going to hit again after the Raiders game. Well, he did last week. He might have another one in him against the Cowboys or Carolina Panthers, but the targets are flowing in this offense. Bryce Young goes YOLO. 28 pass attempts, 34, 46, 35, and we're rarely under 200 yards passing. Bryce Young is getting in these interesting matchups where the ball is flowing. We got Arizona coming up. Those are going to be some interesting matchups, and Tampa Bay as well on the road. Tank Bigsby is an up-and-down running back, but if you need a touch merchant, a running back that's getting double-digit carries, double-digit touches, here you go. You can pray to the fantasy gods with that. You got a better chance when a running back's touching it 10-plus times than a running back that's touching it like 5 times. Mac Jones is just throwing it a lot. That's it. I can't tell you he's going to be great for fantasy because sometimes he's not. But he's throwing it a lot. He's in weird game scripts. We do have the Raiders coming up. Malik Washington is getting more opportunity in the offense. We're watching Waddle here to see if he's going to be healthy. But Malik Washington, a very good wide receiver out of Virginia who fell under the radar here. 58.8% snap rate last week. 6 targets in this game. And if you're in a deeper league, you might be having to start him because this offense moves the ball at a fast pace. And they may have to look his way, especially against the Niners. They may have to get creative with it. Now we're looking at Alexander Mattison. Since here McCormick's dealing with an injury, could be out this week. Alexander Mattison's a good touch merchant. He'll get 10-plus touches. If Sincere McCormick's out, he'll get volume, and you could gamble on that. 10-plus touches in a game is good to gamble on the running back position because they can volume themselves into fantasy production. Watch Craig Reynolds and Vaki here. David Montgomery's out. Jahmyr Gibbs should be getting all the workload, but Craig Reynolds has been with the team for a bit. He's stable. He's reliable. They're probably going to lean on him in some instances, so this could be a running back to pay attention to. Elijah Moore's been getting a lot of targets week in, week out, since Jameis Winston, or really since Watson's been out. 9 targets, 8 targets, 5 targets, 14, 4, and 6. We do have a quarterback change. However, we're moved around the field. We run a lot of routes. We do have some upside. Cedric Tillman should be back this week. Watch for him, but it could be deep ball city going his way. A big gamble this deep in the playoffs, though. I'm not going to trust it. I'm not putting him in many lineups. But if I'm in a deeper league or if I'm hurting bad enough, sure, go ahead. Jalen Warren, if you're looking for a touch merchant, he's getting enough touches to make you interested. In some of these matchups, he's crossing the goal line. He's racking up enough catches to give you something in fantasy football. Ray McCloud, you're watching him now with Michael Penix. You're watching him now. I can't guarantee you anything. Prior to this video being made, I was expecting Kirk Cousins to be in. Michael Penix is going to be in. I expect the ball to flow a little bit differently. Ray McCloud's running a lot of routes, about 90% route participation rate. Watch him on the field. Blake Corum is a great handcuff for Kyren Williams. If Kyren Williams goes down, you're going to want Blake Corum. So if I got Kyren Williams, I'm paying up for Blake Corum. If I got a roster spots and I want to get some stashes, Blake Corum's one of my top guys. MVS is one of my top random wide receivers, one of my top jabroni wide receivers. He should be rostered, but in his last 2 games, he saw 7 targets. He's always getting a deep A-dot. If he misses, he's going to miss big. If he's going to hit, he's going to hit big. He gets those deep targets. If you bring one in, he's going to bring one huge for you in fantasy football. Same thing with Christian Watson, honestly. He's a little bit more volatile, a little bit more up and down considering the competition in the offense, but Christian Watson's another one of those volatile wide receivers. A.D. Mitchell, Alec Pierce, looks like he's been banged up. Watch the injury reports. If you're in a deeper league, you may want to snag him because he's going to be getting those deeper routes, might be getting more opportunities. Kayshon Boutte and the Patriots wide receivers, Pop Douglas and company. Kayshon Boutte is getting targets and running a lot of routes. Pop Douglas is getting the fantasy points, but just enough to not make you get mad at your fantasy team. Take your poison with this. I only recommend this for deeper leagues right now. I'm not going to recommend this for 10-team leagues and 12-man leagues for these wide receivers because they're highly volatile, and Kayshon Boutte hasn't hit yet, but the work rate is up there. It's elite, and that's something to look at. Those are the players we're looking at going into Week 16. We got some upside here. We got some gambles here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.